Hello, welcome everybody. It's Leslie, President of Ulster County Women's Network. Everybody, welcome to our seventh Zoom event. We're fortunate to have with us today Ellen Messer. This is not the right one. So first, let me introduce our advisory board. We have, I'm sorry, I don't have the right script, but I just have to wing it. So we have Kristen Wenger. Raise your hand. Yeah, we might want to be in gallery view right now. If you're controlling that, Judy. We have Kristen Wenger, and she's our dynamic duo coordinator, and she works with everyone to get our programs going. And we have Judy Kerman, our editor. Raise your hand up. She's handling the Zoom for me today. And we have Rachel Jackson. I don't see Rachel. Okay.
Hi there.
There she is. And we also have Gloria. She's on the telephone, no video. So chirp hello, Gloria. She's not there. She's our vice president. And we also
Hello.
there you are.
Hello. Yep.
And then we
It's
have
Gloria.
Sheila Gould. And there you are. And she is acting as our dynamic Uno. What did you call yourself before? Oh, yeah, she's muted. We can't hear her. We don't have two people, so Sheila is totally responsible for this. And
I think she called herself the dynamic Uno.
Uno, yes, a dynamic Uno. But before we start, I always like to take a few moments to honor the people who have died and who are still suffering, including ourselves, from this event, pandemic. Well, I'm just tongue-tied without my script, aren't I? So there's been over 375,000 people who have died in this country alone from the pandemic. So let's just take a few minutes to honor and grieve for all those people and ourselves. Any way you choose. And thank you very much. I'll turn it over now to Sheila.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad you could join us for what I know will be a very stimulating presentation by Ellen Messer, my friend. Let me tell you a little bit about Ellen's background. Ellen is a specialist in designing and facilitating customized experimental learning and interventions to help people work efficiently with and through each other to accomplish organizational goals. She knows the organizations that thrive in our economically challenged times need to tap the resources of their people to achieve high-level results. Her expertise has assisted clients develop strategies to increase outcome, focus collaboration, and develop team intelligence and foster authentic cooperation among all organizational levels. She has worked with Fortune 500 companies, law firms, healthcare organizations, small businesses, manufacturing, and public sector service organizations. Ellen has coached and strategized with executives, conferenced with and trained middle management, and presented assessment-based programs for frontline workers to improve their performance and multiple challenges. She is known as a genuine relationship builder. Ellen, we're pleased to have you. Take it away.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here. So thank you very much. I always wish my mother could hear that kind of stuff. She used to always tell me, get a job. So good evening, everybody. I'm really glad to be here. And thank you, Sheila, Leslie, Kristen, for having me here to talk with you all about working in 2021. Well, it's interesting because I didn't know quite who was going to be here or exactly what you all did and what you all do. So even as we talk, what I would like very much is to be able to have you chime in. If you have a question or you want to shift how this is going, you have a different focus, I would like that very much because this is more conversation than it is my just lecturing. And that's because essentially we are going to be talking about the new normal. And I have no idea what that means. No, and the reason I don't is because I don't think anybody really knows what the new normal is going to be. It's a placeholder. It's something that we can look at. It's a phrase to look at what the evolution and adaptation to the world of work and to the world in general is going to be when we are no longer in the midst of this pandemic, so that we can engage more fully in our lives and the world around us. And it's interesting when this first happened, I don't know, that was sort of, you know where you were, if you're as old as I am, when Kennedy was shot, or you know where you were when 9/11 happened. Well, that was sort of what it felt like. On the day, I really got what the pandemic was about and began to quarantine in my home. I had just visited with my son in Philadelphia and his two small children, my grandchildren, had a great time. That was the 8th of March last year. I have not seen them since. I came home and I really thought that the concept here is we're going to be doing this for what, 2-3 weeks? Did anybody else think like that? Or did you really think that it was going to be as long as we've had to deal with it? Curious to know. Yes, no, anybody? What do you think?
It was going to be a while because viruses don't just come and go. That's not how they work.
But
Right.
I thought it was going to be only 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it kind I mean, the fact that it came here, the fact that it was there and there and there and there and there, and then it was here, I mean, it's not going anywhere. It traveled. It's not just going to end. And but again, I'm a germaphobe and I'm paranoid about germs to start with. So the minute I heard that, we started stocking up on water and food and then we locked ourselves down and we didn't go anywhere. So
And toilet paper, right?
no, I lucked out on that part because we don't use toilet paper. We have a bidet.
Oh,
There you go. But the point being is that I don't think that at that time, I really thought that it was going to be as long as it's been. And it's an amazing thing that what happened then was that we stopped. But going back to where the new normal will be, won't be a stop. It'll be gradual. It'll be shifting. It'll be adapting. And it'll be giving us an opportunity to take a look at what worked that we can take with us and what didn't work and could work better when we come back to being more like what life was like. I think that that the things that I really enjoyed doing, I don't know. Will I enjoy doing them again? I don't know. I'm not unlike you are, Laura, and a number of other people. I don't want to get this. Too many people I know have gotten this. I have a friend who just died from it. And I had a 98-year-old aunt who had tested positive and had no symptoms. What can you say? You just don't know what's going to happen, and the best thing to do is to manage not to have that happen to you if you can avoid it. And it's very interesting because what's happened now is that I have, and I can imagine other people might feel the same, and of course, depending on their level of staying home and staying away from other people and what they've ended up doing at this point, I can imagine that things and reentry is not going to be so quick and so easy. As I said, I've gotten acclimated to this. I'm comfortable. I like the corner of my couch. You know, I like my computer. I have, you know, great movies I can see. I can take drives to the country and go to the farm and get food. And so the point being is we are going to be shifting, but it's not going to be shifting back. It's going to be shifting to something new. And I wish I had a crystal ball to know what pieces and parts of what we had we're going to keep and move forward and what we don't. But one thing that I am going to say about this return is, and I regret greatly, is not having had, of course, who does when you're really young, the presence of mind to ask my grandparents what it was like back in 1918.
Mm.
And I think often that had I done that, had I had any idea about doing that, that it might give a little bit more insight to me and to others who don't have a sense of what that's like, because I know that it was a terrible, terrible pandemic. I know that people got sick in the morning. They felt fine when they woke up, then they got sick. They started coughing, then they started being congested. Their fever ran away with them, and by midnight, they could be dead. So, and they didn't even have anything that we have, no medications, nothing to really make a change in that. And yet, I know that my grandfather went to work every day. I know that my grandmother took care of my mother. I know that they managed to get through it. And that's the one thing that gives me hope, is that it was a terrible pandemic then, and they managed to get through it. And you know what happened afterward? The Roaring 20s. So we might really be in for something.
Yeah.
And we'll have to wait and see what happens. So as we ease back into our own post-pandemic realm, it might be individual for each of us. It's not going to be the same. How many of you are very protective of your space and spend more time at home and don't go out as much as you used to?
Oh, yeah.
You see a show of hands, right? Right. How many of you go to the supermarket? Okay, but for those of you who don't, I don't. I get my food delivered. Okay, so there's a real shift in what it is that we're going to do and feel comfortable about. And the new things that we need to look at, even for ourselves, when we move back into that realm, are to look at what new skills, especially in the world of work, and especially as we've been talking about, how you get the work out there, how you get what you do out there, how you make changes in the response that can come from people after COVID. We're going to look at some new skills that are going to be really vital as we transition back to the post-COVID work landscapes. And how many of you have worked through maintaining social interactions with people you work with or with customers while you're home? You have, Sarah.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, I have two different groups. One group is a group of glass artist friends, and we have a Monday morning Zoom coffee time.
Uh-huh.
Lissa and I and some other jewelry artist friends have a group that one night a week we have a Zoom cocktail hour. And I think it's kept my sanity, being able to see
Yeah.
people, because I really miss the world. I mean, I love my home and I work out of my home, so I'm lucky. My business suffered greatly, but it has rebounded a little bit. But I miss people. I miss going out. I mean, I go out food shopping, but that's about it. You know, I miss going out to the movies and restaurants. We take out from a restaurant maybe once a week. And, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I miss the world. I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, in certain ways, there were things I think like Zoom that are probably going to continue.
Yeah.
In some odd ways. I run an annual writers retreat, which used to be up on the mountain at Birdcliff. And this year we did it on Zoom with breakout rooms. And there are
Right.
now 3 ongoing workshops that are meeting at least once a month.
Cool.
Workshop in groups of 3 or 4 or 5 people. And they're all over the place. There are people in the Virgin Islands, and there's somebody in Utah, and they, we might have continued a little bit on email, but it wouldn't be the same.
Well, the concept of technology as a part of returning to the world has given us in COVID tremendous advantage that if you think back to 1918, people didn't have. They were in their neighborhoods. They did whatever they could in their neighborhoods. They shopped in their neighborhoods. They stayed away from others who were in their neighborhoods. They couldn't get together quite like we are getting together. There was just no way to do it. I agree with you, Judy. There's some things we're going to take with us, and that's the point. And I think one of the points is technology. What is it that we're going to be able to do with technology that we didn't even know we could do before COVID? Because we didn't. How many of us really did Zoom or audio visual? No. And there's so many other platforms that we've learned to use.
Video phone existed, but it was kind of science fiction. There was Skype, but who used it? Now,
Right.
everybody.
Absolutely. Skype and there's a Microsoft.
FaceTime, Google Duo. I work out with my trainer. I did this morning with Google Duo.
Absolutely. Totally. And Microsoft 365 has a whole suite of programs, from an office chat program to audio-visual program, on and on and on. And there are just so many. As I was researching this, I came across, must be at least 25 different programs that are in use now that aren't even future-oriented programs. We don't know what we're going to get. We don't know how that's going to work. No, and it's going to be terrific. I can't wait myself until it's holographic. That's what I'm waiting for. I want Mr. Spock in my living room as a hologram. That's what I'm looking for. So the new skills that we're going to be having, that we're going to will be vital. And a piece of what you just spoke about, which is what I was going to say, is how we can maintain meaningful social interactions, either with colleagues, which you talked about, Sarah. That's what you were doing, have been doing, others the same, and how that's going to go back. Maybe there's some pieces of it, as I said, we want to bring forward for lots of reasons that are pretty much valid. And you hit on it, Judy, is that you can be all over the world, do this, and figure out a way to get together with people you never would have under any other circumstances. So we also have to look at, and I'm not going to get too involved in this because I was going to be doing it. It all depends on who the audience is, but teams. How many of you work in teams? You do. Okay, we can.
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay, so I'll touch on it a little bit, but not because it's not as valid as if we were talking about going to an office and working like that. Meetings, though, meetings count, right? People have really meetings for various organizations, and the concept of how do you do meetings, not unlike how you did meetings before, but how do we do meetings that are productive and inclusive and manage to accomplish what we're looking to accomplish? Okay, there's also generational differences. How many of us work with generational differences? People in the groups or organizations that we have that are different, and they respond differently to communication, right?
They know how to do it.
Well, and so do we, really. And it's just their preferences might be different. My son likes to communicate with text. That's his preference. He likes to text. He could text all day. And for me, my thumbs are too slow. So I text, but I do it by voice. And some of the mistakes that voice to text
Hilarious.
they're hilarious. So as well, and what we're talking about with how do we navigate across new and emerging platforms and figure out what to use for which purpose. So first, the vital skills, the things that I really connect to very much, and it's a part of how I do the work I do when I do training, and that is the vital skills as we transition forward, and all the resources distill these at the core. 5, agility, innovation, resilience, technology, and emotional intelligence. Sound familiar?
Yep.
Part of what we do within the world and when we're retreated from the world. So let's talk about agility first. What's agility? What does it mean to you? She asked and they answered. Yeah.
I think it means you're able to change directions quickly.
Could you talk a little bit louder?
Change directions quickly.
Okay, good. Yeah, what else?
Respond in real time.
Yeah.
Be flexible.
Keep your balance. Keep your balance.
Balance, yeah.
Being nimble.
Nimble, yeah, being nimble. So great. So this is all about agility. And what's great about agility that what I love thinking about is that it's insurance for the unknown.
Say that again.
Insurance for the unknown.
Okay, cool.
I like that. I like that. So because it creates an environment that allows you and the things that you do to adapt at a rapid pace. And that's what we're living in right now. Everything seems to be more rapid because of COVID moving forward after the time out. And then it's like, okay, so this is the situation. What am I going to do? Not going to be on the couch forever. How am I going to change that? What am I going to do? How am I going to be agile in looking at what I'm going to do for the future and in the learning I have to have, and renewal and risk-taking and reinvention. Forbes says that agility is the most important attribute for being successful post-COVID. Agility. So innovation is another one. What's innovation?
Using technology.
Okay.
Looking for new ways of doing things.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I would have said. That's, it doesn't have to be technological. It has to be using the materials at hand to do something that you haven't thought of doing before.
Right. It's like a recipe. How many times have you had a recipe that has just these particular things, but hey, I have these things on hand. What am I going to make with them? Which is usually where I'm at this point. And so, yes, it's creating new ways of doing the things that need to be done. Lindt Chocolate had storefronts. And at the beginning of the pandemic, their business just tanked. And they knew that they would be totally out of business if they didn't do something fast. And they had planned to put all of their business online. And at closer to the end of the year, and they thought it would take them months to do it, 5 days. 5 days. Agility, innovation, and the ability to access opportunities and plan using the latest technology, because the way to look at this as well for us who have not had as much ease into technology is to recognize that you can't use yesterday's technology to solve tomorrow's problems. Won't work. So the technology that we looked at that could streamline what we could do pre-COVID or 2 or 3 years ago when we thought we were, doing so great, isn't going to solve tomorrow's problems. They used consultants, business consultants. They planned, they used the latest technology, they innovated, and they were up and running in 5 days, saved their business. Okay, and that gives us a little bit of a look at how maybe to begin to think about some of the things that you do in your studio and that you've done other ways can reach an audience by doing something innovative, using this technology that we know about and exploring other technology that you might not even know exists. So it's about resilience. That's another one of the core skills, resilience, which is
Bouncing back.
perfectly fine. Yes. Bouncing.
Sway with the wind.
Say it again.
Adapt with the wind.
Yep. Absolutely. And especially from stressful experiences and moving forward after
Yes.
to keep focused on the desired outcomes and learn from the trauma. It takes
Mm,
practice and it takes intention.
I see.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Let me know when I'm not making sense. Okay. So the last piece of those 5 skills, technology. And I think we all know what that is. And I said before, you can't solve tomorrow's problems with yesterday's technology. But the speed of new platforms for business solutions, it's phenomenal. And it's what I said before about business. I'm not in an organization here speaking with you in terms of moving your business forward as a part of a corporation. But each one of you is your own corporation. Each one of you has to make the same kinds of decisions that you might have a team make, right? It's the way that you have to look at what you do. You want customers, you want business, you will have advertising, you need to make, it's different. Sarah, I know a lot of what you did and others, many friends who are crafts people and artists, they spent almost all their time applying for, being accepted at, and schlepping to all kinds of venues that would give them the opportunity to sell their wares. Guess what? Done. What do you have to do to get out there? You're a team by yourself, which is even harder because you don't have the input of the other people unless you create a venue for that, which is another thing that might work for you in terms of looking at teams is how do you create that for yourself, right? Because as a team, you might discover that there are other people. And, that's another thing that I've always dealt with in business, which I really love. And some businesses get it and others look at me like I have 3 heads. It's not about competition. It's about collaboration. My jewelry is not better than your jewelry. It's just my jewelry. It's different, looks different. Certain people respond to it. Other people don't like it at all. But
Ellen,
yeah.
It's interesting. Restaurant rows, actually restaurants on restaurant rows do better than if they're separated.
There you go.
I mean, they're competing, but they're not.
Right. Which was the magic of going to a craft fair. Right? I mean, it's the kind of thing. Thank you for saying that, Susan. Yes. Because at a craft fair, how many jewelers could there be? I know that they were curated. Good friends were Art Writer.
Yeah.
And they did beautiful. Stacy did fantastic work curating the vendors, but there were lots of jewelers. There were lots of people who did weaving, a lot of people who did sculpture, a lot of people who did woodwork. And on a good weekend, they all did well because different people are attracted to different things. So just as a suggestion, how many of you do have people you work with as a team, not just your own team, but people you work with as a team to figure out how to move forward with your work?
Poets have a long tradition of workshopping together and helping each other improve our work. And there are some Facebook pages where people share who's looking for work and who charges a fee to read your work. And there's a lot of collaboration, and you know, the fiction writers do it too, but the poets particularly, because the work is short, it's really easy to respond to each other.
The group of musicians that I work with, we all try to help each other as well. Like the stage that I put up, it's not just for my band to perform so that I can perform. We hire all the local bands and we incorporate that. And then we hire restaurants on the outside to cater it so that they make money. And as we're building up all of those people, we're building our own band and stuff up because everybody is entangled. So
Super. That works. That works. So we're talking about building connections in the absence of being face to face. And I think that's really one of the most important things to do because we can't be in the same location like we were. You talked about it, Sarah, which is great. Lunch hours, parties, chat rooms, escape rooms, trivia. Good friend of mine is a manager at a law firm. Last Friday night, they did a wine tasting. There's a company that organizes wine tasting, and they were each sent to their home something like 10 bottles of wine.
Sounds good.
Yeah, doesn't that sound true? Because well, the great part about it is they could drink as much as they wanted, and they didn't have to drive home, right? But it was really a terrific event, and a lot of communication, a lot of party stuff around that. But the great part, to my mind, was it was also structured. So one of the things you might think of when you put together a social get-together is how to structure it and yet have it be social. So those kinds of connections make a big difference in how you will move forward and move your business forward. And the who knows what might be, you may never have to schlep to another, craft show again.
I'll just tell you, we have very dear friends who are glass blowers, and they are really dinosaurs when it comes to technology. And they'd been meaning to get on Etsy, and they just weren't getting around to it. And just around March, it just so happened that their daughter finally said, right, I'm putting your stuff up on Etsy. Just at the moment that all the stores closed that would normally take their orders, they have these hummingbird feeders. They have never worked so hard in their lives. And now they're making, of course, and it's
Great.
retail, they're selling retail. They've sold something like over 500 hummingbird feeders on Etsy. I mean, they're like,
Yeah.
I call them rock stars. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And they are, they all of a sudden, and they are so not technologically inclined at all, but their timing and, like you said, these company that you said went on in 5 days, which is phenomenal. Having built my own little website, that's a phenomenal achievement. But these folks and now they're saying, well, wholesale, we're getting older. We don't really want to do wholesale anymore. We're certainly not schlepping the shows anymore. But now Etsy is kind of their new thing. Oh, this is a viable way to make a living.
If you have the right product.
If you have the right product, yes.
Yeah.
And it's
Absolutely.
not totally common that people will find. I've had an Etsy shop for several years, and the most consistent thing I get is things that have the word Shekhinah, and occasionally somebody wants to put tassels on the corners of a prayer shawl, and I sell a tzitzit kit.
Cool.
Trying it with some other products, and we'll see. It's one of those, we'll see. But at least
You just said something, Judy, you just said something that's brilliant. You want to know what it is?
yeah.
What you said, what you said that was brilliant was with some other products. Again, you could, in terms of, remember the core skills that we're working as a lens through those core skills? Innovation. What if you got together with other people who do similar things, but not the same thing, all got together at the point of being able to say, we provide X, even on Etsy. I'll fix the tassels. Somebody else says, well, I'll do the embroidery. Somebody else says, well, okay, there you go. You've just opened up a shop, like this. Oh, and now we have yarmulkes too. All right.
I've got some, I never put them on.
Right, but I'm saying it's a part of like, now we're full service Judaica store, and you also sell some of Sarah's stuff.
Right.
Look at this. Why not? One-stop shopping. There you go.
Can I? Oh,
You
sorry.
can do it. Innovation. So anytime you have anything to say, stop me.
This is Karen speaking here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Karen. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think I've seen, I don't remember where in my Zoom
Karen,
experience.
I'm going to
But,
ask you something. Karen,
Yeah,
can you hear me? Is there a way you could push your camera a little bit one way or the other so we can see your face?
oh, right. Yeah, I'm in this tiny little space where this is as far back as I can go. And
That's
this is
fine.
kind of
Or
far from my
pull it
desk.
down a
Yeah.
little bit, or, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's better. Yeah. I think I've seen something where a group of artists who do something related just were holding group sales on Zoom, almost like a big crafts fair that they organized among themselves and just had, like group jewelry sales or, group ceramic sales or whatever it was, or crafts. And then it was also some kind of an interaction with the public feature in there somewhere. I don't know if Zoom has anything like that, but they were finding it was very successful, like having a group studio sale on Zoom where people can see a lot of different things together. And, that goes along that same theme of, putting all the galleries on the same street and things like that. So anyway, thought I'd throw that out there.
I mean, so this is for you to use, and I think it can make a big difference if you follow through this innovation, right? And being nimble and willing to just step out there and look at the possibilities. And so another piece of that vital skill that we didn't mention yet is the last piece of emotional intelligence. We all know emotional intelligence made a big splash in the past 10, 15 years where people are suddenly recognized for, they don't have to have, to be able to do advanced trigonometry to be smart. They can be smart in a number of ways. One of them is emotionally. Having good relationships, empathy, listening, social skills, self-awareness, motivation, all part of emotional intelligence. There also is kinesthetic intelligence. That's a measurement. I don't know if you know, in terms of the different intelligences that are measured, that's another one. No? A sense of, right?
I got accused of being a motor moron once, so. I know what it is, I don't have it.
How well somebody can choreograph physically, how well they move, how well they can remember their movements. And if you look at trainers that really are good at what they do, they have a tremendous amount of intelligence in terms of their capacity to move and know where they are in space. So let's move into, as I said, we talked about technology and we've talked about the applications of different technologies. I was flabbergasted when I saw this, and that is that Cisco, Capterra, Microsoft, Zoom, it's out there for Android and iOS. Everything can talk to everything else. However, when we're talking, which is an interesting thing, and Sheila, you brought this up in a conversation we had, was about acronyms. Whenever we have a particular connection with, especially people who do this texting all the time, that's the way of communicating. In terms of communication, I came up against a wonderful article. And the article was the coolest 100 acronyms of 2020. And I was floor. The coolest. I mean, the things that they said, I honestly didn't know. I had no clue what they were talking about. How about EOD? You know what EOD?
End of day.
Got it. All right. End of TIA. Now I always thought it was a transient ischemic attack. It means like a little stroke. No, that's not what they mean. They mean thanks in advance.
Wow. How about just saying thanks in advance?
Yep.
Too many letters.
Right.
I use IMHO. My brother uses AFAIK, which I had to figure out. That's as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
What was that second one? AM.
AFAIK, which is as far as I know.
Oh,
The other one is in my
IMHO,
humble
I've been
opinion.
using for years. That's in my humble opinion.
oh, okay.
How about LMGTFY?
But laughing my something off, right? No?
Let me Google that for you.
Oh, right.
I mean, you know, I love this one. This is the one I like the best. This super best, right? Capitals, TL, semicolon, DR. Too long, didn't read.
Right.
So, the
PMI, but it's more complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just it's a language we don't need to know, and because the message to my mind around communication is don't let people do that to you. Seriously, you don't understand it. You can ask people to out if they're writing an email, if they're writing a text. The point is you need to control the communication as it comes to you, and we know what communication does, and you know what it means. So in terms of the future of your business and how you conduct your business, that emotional intelligence and communication is going to get you really far. It's about the listening. It's about the being able to be on time, direct communications, being on target and purposeful, and not letting people get away with something that makes it tough for you to really know what you're involved in. Let's see, what else did I want to speak about with
Can I
you?
just ask a question?
Absolutely.
Ellen?
Go ahead.
I think that who controls the communication depends upon sort of who has the money to some extent. I mean, because if a client, you know, puts in some kind of acronym or something, I'm probably not going to say, well, you can't talk to me that way. I'll probably just look it up.
I would never say you can't talk to me that way. What I would say is, I'm going to make a request of you, client. I know you're very up on all of this. They call it text speak. I know you're really up on, I see, you're really up on the text speak, but I'm not. So I'm going to make a request of you to say it in longhand so that we can understand each other. I would say something like that.
I would never do that. I mean, it's just because I think it's incumbent on me, if they're paying me, to understand what they're saying. I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I mean,
You
it's
don't
not
have
an
to-
equal status relationship.
What's your business, Susan?
Market research.
I was just about to ask. Yeah. Well, I know it's not. I have clients too, and they will
I'm
use.
sure.
That's how I do my business, and they will use slang, or they'll use terms that I don't know. I'll ask, what does that mean?
Oh, it's
They can
fun to
not-
ask,
that's
but I
wrong.
mean, I wouldn't constrain them in my business about what they.
Okay. Everybody is different. Everybody's comfort level is different. Everybody works differently. So fine, you know, it's where people are at and how they work with it. Which is great.
It's a two-way street, and if the message is not getting across, we have to take some responsibility for that.
Oh, absolutely. It's one thing to ask. It's another. I mean, if I look it up and I really don't know what they're talking about, I'm going to say, "What are you talking about?" But I wouldn't ask them before I tried to find out myself.
Google is your friend.
Unless
Say
not
again?
understanding it at the moment they say it is going to throw you off for the whole rest of the conversation. You know,
That's absolutely right. Yes,
you know.
that's right.
I
Yeah,
said,
But you can
I said
Google while they're
is your-
talking. But yes,
Google is your friend.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Google is your friend.
So just an interesting statistic that I came upon, and that is that the Pew Research Center survey that was done recently of 6,000 people that they surveyed said only 20% worked from home before the
Only
pandemic.
what percent? What percent?
20.
20% worked from home before the pandemic. And the statistic indicates that 71% are working from home and 54% would like to continue to work from home when the outbreak ends, or have some kind of hybrid form of working from home and a workplace. So it's an interesting thing about what's happened through this pandemic, and that is because of the skills and the technology, workplaces have discovered that they don't have to be in the same place. It can make a big difference in terms of real estate, in terms of cost. And I can imagine for all of us, you know, yes, you get dressed in the morning if you're going to be on a Zoom call or at whatever platform is audiovisual. But the bottom line is you don't have to get up, get dressed, take a shower, go to where you're going, put on makeup, the whole thing.
Deal with traffic probably somewhere, you know,
Deal with traffic,
waste
absolutely.
and waste productive time doing that.
Absolutely. So, and also it's about the flexibility that we have. Those of you who are on your own schedule anyway, when you produce what you produce, have the opportunity to do it at any time you want. However, when you're in the work world and there is flexibility, you know how great that is? People who prefer to work at night can work at night and do other things during the day. Younger parents who have children can be there when the kids are there and work at night if they can work at night rather than having to work for a full day out of the house. It's really shifted, and it's shifted how we think and how we relate to work. And I think the important piece is we have to look at those things that work that we decide to keep and those things that we're going to not have. So I just want to very quickly talk about a few trends that we can look for in a post-pandemic environment that are speeded up because of the pandemic. Interestingly enough, the move toward plastic and away from cash. I read that it's happening 8 years sooner than projected. And that's a very interesting thing, that especially those of us who are not kids tend to use plastic and did use plastic. They adapted more quickly. They'd go and buy a cup of coffee with plastic, right? We just took plastic for bigger purchases. You know, why put that on your credit card? Why use, you know, those kinds of opportunities for, I'll use cash and I'll use plastic for a bigger purchase. Plastic all over. When it has, before this, I would go into Grand Central Station, and there was a place in Grand Central Station that sells wonderful pastries, great breads, good coffee. They wouldn't take money.
Mm.
It was all,
Ellen, I think that's illegal now in New York City
and
because
that's what happened.
the unbanked can't deal with it.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. De Blasio declared that was
Discriminatory, really.
discriminatory. He said it was discriminatory and changed it back to accepting money. But for a while, they didn't even accept anything but. But now when you think about it, people aren't using cash as much because of the consideration of, does it have COVID on it? Is it germy? Is it dirty? Is it not clean? They're using plastic. They don't want it in their pockets. So we've made an adaptation, and probably it's going to happen more quickly than not. Greater social responsibility, diversity and inclusion. That was really a big thing. I did a lot of work in that. in the early 90s, then it went away. And now it's coming back because of a lot of the social issues that have happened, and which is a good thing. It's a very good thing. Go digital for learning. And that's vis-a-vis a younger generation that's now getting used to what it means to do distance learning, hybrid offices, virtual workspaces, improved public transportation, which is a great thing to be, I'm hoping, more involved in, thinking about the changes that are happening. Wouldn't it be great if there could be something that was like the WPA, which pulled people out of the pandemic and out of a depression by having the infrastructure of the country developed. It's a great thing. Online shopping, that's another thing. I loved going shopping, just going shopping. I didn't start to use Amazon like I use it now until COVID. And other online opportunities, and especially what's happening with big box and retail stores. We're going to see a whole shift in that, and that shift is because of what we're going through now. And another big piece is telehealth.
Can you say more about the big boxes, please? What do you mean it's shifting?
Once upon a time, there were all of these big box stores that people went into to touch, to see the merchandise, right? Best Buy, Sears, and these big stores that were big appliance and manufacturing and audio and other bulk items. People are buying them on Amazon now. They're not going to the stores, and the stores are closing. We've lost, I think Macy's is closing like crazy. Penny is gone. Numbers of stores are closing, and it's directly because of this. Small stores are closing, and if they can get up and online, great. But the shopping experience has shifted, and people are more willing to do that online than having to go someplace and try on clothing. They bring it home, they get it, they can return it.
That's
Go ahead.
the main
As long
thing.
as the return program is good. You're
Right.
absolutely right.
Well, that's their challenge, isn't it? Challenge of a good online shop or store is how good is their program? How good is their mailing program, their return program? Makes a difference. So I
It's
think
like now
just
with the, if you
everything,
buy,
and Lisa, at the end of
Buy-
what you say, how about some feedback?
if you buy something on Amazon now, you don't even have to send it in the mail. You just go to Kohl's and drop it off at Kohl's, and you don't even have to put it in pack.
Isn't that amazing?
I don't understand. What is this? You buy something through Amazon and,
If
But
you
you
buy
don't
something
want it.
from Amazon and you want to return it, all you have
Oh.
to do is go to Kohl's. You don't have to have any of the packaging. You don't even have to have a receipt really, and they'll take it back.
oh, wow.
Land's End invented that with Sears.
Where's the nearest Kohl's around here?
The
think
next
one in
door to
Kingston.
ShopRite.
Where? Oh, by ShopRite? Was one?
Yeah.
Right.
It's the other side from ShopRite. There's the driveway, ShopRite's to the left, and Kohl's is to the right.
Oh, wow.
I just did the same thing at the UPS store at the King's Plaza, right near where Mother Earth is. There's a store called the UPS store,
Yep.
and same thing. Anything you buy at Amazon you want to return, you have to get you have to bring with you the return, whatever they
Receipt.
call that. That it's not a receipt; it's like a
Return authorization, yeah.
authorization,
They send it to you.
and they will pack it up and send it home, send it back.
At Kohl's, you can show the code on your phone. You don't even have to have any kind of receipt or anything. You just show your code on your phone, and they scan it and they take the stuff from you.
And they'll
Wow.
pack it? Will
They'll
they pack it?
They'll do everything. You don't have to do anything. You
Wow.
just hand them the piece and they'll take it and ship it back.
Yeah.
This is what I thought, except I have to return a toaster oven. and they wouldn't take it back because there are only certain items that they will take at Kohl's.
Try
Have a
the
limit, and
try
I don't know what.
try the UPS store.
And where did
they-
you say the UPS store was?
It's right next to Mother Earth at the King's.
Oh, Mother Earth, right, yeah.
Corner, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I ended up doing.
They'll take it.
But
But
you were starting,
hey, but you have to
you were,
Kohl's. It's free.
you were starting
It's,
to talk
it's
about
free.
telehealth.
It's free at UPS too. It's just
Oh yeah, okay.
So there you go.
I think that's what
No wonder they're so successful, because of being directed like that. No matter what you think of them, it makes life easy. So just quickly, we looked at 5 core skills: agility, innovation, resilience, technology, and emotional intelligence, meaningful social interactions, and I'm hoping, as well as teamwork and hoping and technology. And I hope that you've gleaned something from tonight,
Very good.
thoughts, some ways of looking at things. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.
It's wonderful.
Thank you all. Thank you.
you guys say.
You want to say something, Leslie?
I think it's Kristen's,
Yes, so thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Sheila. Thanks, Sheila, for being our dynamic Uno tonight and bringing your amazing skills as a business person to bring this topic forward for us. That was so helpful. So again, thank you, Ellen, for putting this together. Just quickly, we have our next event coming up on February 9th. And this will be a demonstration by Linda Schultz, who's a practicing artist whose focus has been Asian aesthetics, mainly Chinese brush painting.
Oh.
And she, in her description, she says, nature is the heart of Chinese brush painting, and it's intended to be a meditative and spontaneous art form, capturing the essence of an image or idea with very little attention to precise details. So she's asking us all to come and learn the basics of this meditative art form. So I think that's going to be an exciting presentation. It will be a demonstration presentation, so we don't have to come prepared with materials or anything. She does do those workshops as well, but this is, she's going to just be demonstrating the basics of this ancient art form. So I think that's going to be very exciting. So I hope you all can join us. We'll have certainly more information about Linda and about the demonstration when the announcement comes out by email. So, but again, thank you. I'll turn it back to Leslie for a close.
and thank you, Ellen. I feel much more hopeful about the future of my business life, that's for sure. And everybody else does too. You know, maybe we can finally catch up with Europe and China and things like using cash and plastic. And I wanted to say we're offering you a 1-year membership to Ulster County Women's Network, Ellen,
Oh.
for trouble. So we appreciate that, and you can come to events. We'll get
That would be lovely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's very sweet.
So gratitude for everybody for their continued support of Ulster County Women's Network. Does anyone
Great.
have a benefit announcement they would like to make? Some event of their own that's coming up? There's an opportunity.
Well, maybe just a quick one. If anyone is interested in doing some local shopping without leaving their couch, madeinkingstonny.com is a resource now with over 50 artists on it, all local Kingston artists who are selling, who usually would do
Right,
the
right.
winter event. We were doing a yearly event the first week in December. And this year we went online, and it will be up all year. And so if you'd like to see some fabulous artwork from local people, and you can arrange to probably buy and pick up at the studios if you want to. So that's madeinkingstonny.com.
Super.
Sounds great.
Did you have something, Judy? Do you have something?
I
Judy?
have an announcement.
Yes, who is
Who?
that? Joan, yes.
Who, Joan? If you're interested in attending a free Zoom class with I don't have the flyer in front of me, but it's about cooking with essential oils, and it's being given by a really wonderful chef who has written a couple of books on the subject, and she's going to do a free Zoom, and you don't have to have any essential oils on hand, but you can learn about, hey, let's say you don't have any fresh herbs on hand, and you want to do a pesto or whatever. How can you use essential oils in your cooking? So if you're interested, my email is Joan Apter, APTER, @earthlink.net, and I will send you the flyer for the invitation.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Don't forget to support our other Ulster County business partners. And also, before you go, I want to introduce Barbara Hurth, who is our new member from.
Hey,
Yeah.
Barbara.
Everybody
From
sees-
where?
Yeah, you have to come early so we can chat more.
We can't see you, Barbara. There we go.
Hi,
Barbara
Barbara.
has a master's in film
Ooh.
and spent a lot of time in New York City. Is from New York City, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, well, she's having
I don't
time.
know why you can't hear me. I have everything plugged in, so sorry.
Okay. Well, maybe next time. You can tell us more about yourself. Okay.
Okay.
And again, until then, please call people and check in on them if you haven't heard for a while, because we're here for you. And remember that this too shall pass, right?
Yeah, and we can also post our events and things on the website, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody can do that. So if you need help with that, don't hesitate to contact me and I'll help you as best I can.
And please do fill in your profiles so people can learn about you.
Oh, that's true. Should do that.
Yeah, get your picture up there.
Mhm.
And
All in the members section.
I'll send you the information about the membership, Ellen.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
was very interesting.
Very informative. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
till next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. It's wonderful.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Good to see everyone.
Yes.